Now you guys are just starting now, right? The FDD is done. So you're new in this process, but you're not new to franchising like we've talked about. Can I ask you guys though, as being former franchisees, what was your biggest surprise when you were actually operating the franchise? I think this may help folks that are watching or listening to this that are considering becoming a franchisee of Disaster Blaster. It's just so maybe you're setting some expectation for them.
I won't say that was a lot that it was lot of work to get it up and running, because I think anybody that's getting into franchising should already realize that.
Right.
Surprise, I don't know that I had any real surprises. I was so familiar with, working with the industry that I think I pretty much got what I expected. I mean, we weren't pleased with some aspects of it. One of the things that I think we didn't like was, I like an environment where, if somebody below me, even here in this place, if somebody below me has an idea, I want them to come to me and tell me their idea. Now, it doesn't necessarily mean I'm going to agree with that idea, but I want to know about it. A lot of the things that we've instituted over the years have come from people out in the field sometimes, even some other contractors. I didn't see that openness in the franchise we were with.
For me, I think that I was very familiar with the industry before I purchased my franchise. For me, I think it was the stagnation and all of these things that we had issue with. We've worked to address in Disaster Blaster. So we're not resting on our laurels with these 13 services. I mean, 13 services is a lot of services, but we're not going to stop there, because when someone needs something else, if it makes sense, we're going to develop it. Because at the end of the day, that's where our value lies, in our ability to help others and help our communities recover from these types of disasters. To me, that's something that as a franchisor, we're very, very committed to. The other I would add is one that really surprised me is when, as a franchisee, you have a question or a concern, and you reach out and you talk to somebody that it's their job, but they learned it in a book with no direct experience doing any of those things. When our franchisees come to training, they're learning project management and project planning from people that do that. They're learning estimating from people that do that. When they have questions, they're getting support from people that do or have done that. So that's one thing that even as we grow over the years, we're going to be very, very focused on, because you need that experience to be able to answer those questions.
Yeah, you've already earned the respect, and I think the franchisees relate to the folks differently when they've actually done what they're preaching. It's just it just hits different.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. What's the long-term vision for the company, guys?
Grow. Our intention is to continue to expand through franchising. We'll continue to operate our corporate location, of course, add more services and grow our offering. So we work on that every day.
We have other services up here in our head.
Okay.
We're thinking about all the time. Won't say what they are, but I mean that we're often contacting one another. Hey, how about this one? And I think a lot of people don't realize this, but these other one of the benefits to having these other services is it beats that seasonality of this industry. Many of our competitors, are especially the ones up in the Northeast and in the colder climates, their winters are very busy, but then summer comes and I know when I had the other franchise in the summer, I sat by the pool, got the phone on the thing beside the pool, and I sat by the pool and I waited because there was nothing out there.
And that's great when it's what you want to do.
Yeah.
And you've got people in place that are doing the work while you're sitting by the pool.
Sure.
It's not so much when you're hoping that phone's gonna ring. So we've our service offering, because of what we do provide, we don't have the seasonality issue. So we haven't had a slow month in years and years. So
Wow.
it's a big benefit, I think, to our brand.
What's the growth strategy for you guys? Are you looking to grow regionally for the foreseeable future, or is this open nationwide? Where exactly are you guys looking to expand now?
Currently, we're seeking franchisees across 33 states. I will fly to support a franchisee wherever they'd like to open in those areas. Predominantly, we are focused on Pennsylvania, specifically the Philadelphia, Pittsburgh, Allentown areas, New Jersey, Florida, Texas, and New York.
Okay. I'm always curious on the answer to this question. Is this a legacy business for you guys? Gary, we doing this for life, or do you see yourself, you guys have an exit strategy?
I don't know what else I would do.
It's really, because you're asking that, and my wife asks me that all the time. What's the plan here? I don't think I'm ever retiring. I think, I'm one of these guys going, they're going to come in and I'll be laying on my desk, it'll be over. It's just, I enjoy what I do. I cannot picture not coming to work in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
My father and my father-in-law both, they had, they worked for they were employees. They couldn't wait to retire. They retired. They sat and watched soaps and sports shows on TV all day long, and they both died young.
Yeah.
I've outlived both of them already. So,
there's something to be said about purpose.
Yeah, and being active.
Yeah, being active for sure.
And I don't want to have to get to the point where I have to exercise to stay in shape. I work, I stay in shape.
Right, right. Yeah, I think retirement's overrated, but that's just my opinion. I tried it.
Yeah.
It sucked. Let's talk about, we're bringing franchisees in, the due diligence advice. I know you guys are really, really careful about who is going to become part of your brand. Is there any specific advice, Matthew, that you give folks when they're looking at the brand that you want them to do when they're doing their research?
I certainly want them to be informed, specifically about our industry as a whole.
Mm-hmm.
There are certainly pitfalls in the restoration space. You're dealing with insurance companies. If you rely too heavily on insurance claims, it can really squeeze cash flow. So our model, because we're able to focus on so many market segments, we're able to better bridge that and manage that. So when I'm talking to candidates and I'm kind of taking them through the process, first and foremost, I really do want them to understand what the market and what the industry looks like and why these other market segments are as important as they are, because it's not something that you want to overlook or forget.
I think in general, our industry has overvalues the insurance book of business.
Okay.
Years and years ago, maybe 15, 20 years ago, that was extremely lucrative and much easier to work with book of business. Today, it's become more and more difficult. The typical pay is slow, and they require a lot more from you than a normal customer would. So there's more involved there. To be honest with you, I find that we make more money. We do better with less headaches dealing with with the customers.
Yeah, and our experience, we're able to help our franchisees learn how to jump through those hoops and how to navigate that process with claims. Our process working with insurance companies is relatively speedy comparatively, because we've honed that over many years. But if they were trying to go their own way with that, it's really easy to kind of fall into those little pitfalls. So that's why we're here.
Thank you for tuning into the Emerging Franchise Brands podcast. For additional insights, guest applications, and to stay connected, visit us at efbpodcast.com. The Emerging Franchise Brands podcast is for entertainment purposes only, and the views expressed do not necessarily represent those of Emerging Franchise Brands, its host Frank Fumey, or Emerging Franchise Group LLC. Any discussed franchise or investment opportunity requires thorough investigation, obtaining proper disclosure documents, and expert consultation before making any investment decisions. The podcast and its host do not offer professional advice or endorsements, and they hold no responsibility for actions, representations, accuracy, or consequential damages related to the podcast content.